Just take me home where the moon is.
This stream going. Each one I'm clicking on every time I say that. All right, what's up, Tickety Tockety Twos? Instagram, YouTube. This is the new time for Light Masculinity. Only 11 minutes late today.
All the reviewers and go and see that, and everybody claps because everybody is listening, and they all take the stage without performing for me, like ha 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 ha.
Sir, what's up? What's up? People joining. TikTok, we'll get started here. Are you going to be available at all, or are you busy? That's cool if you're busy. All right. What's up, everybody? This is Enlightened Masculinity Podcast. I'm your host, Yogi Chris, PhD, founder of Ninth Limb Yoga, captain of IMC Nation, streaming to you here from IMC Base 1, where I live with the founder of IMC Nation, AZD. And we have 7 bases right now and counting. There's lots of movement happening. Big changes are happening. This weekend, we're going to Los Angeles. So tomorrow, we drive down to Hollywood. Base 2 leader, Will Rios, the 2 guardians here, Fernando and Sultan, who have lived with me and AZD for 3.5 years. Me, AZD, renting a vehicle, going down there and just killing it. Seminars, private moments, and the whole gang. You know, base 6 is down there, base 3 is down there. So that's bases where guys are living together, and you know, it's a conglomeration, a congress, a meeting. And there is also going to be other guys coming from out of state and whatever. We have other bases in Phoenix, in Las Vegas. And so that's the gathering this weekend. A lot of evolution that'll come from that, because we don't live the same lifestyle as people out there. We don't have the same schedule. We don't work for other people. Imagine a base of guys that are all entrepreneurs in their own entrepreneurial journey. So they make their own schedule. They're also fighters. So they train fighting, and they're very health nuts almost. So they really care, not just fighting, but they care about how they eat, how they sleep, stretching, well-being, health, that kind of stuff. So you have healthy guys that are fighters that are also entrepreneurs. Now add into the mix that they're players. They know how to talk to women. They know how to go out and not violate the venue, not violate people, be rude or whatever, not get drunk and get women drunk to get them. Like, they know how to actually get women. If any one of those, you put a house of those together, it would be a mastermind. It'd be very powerful. Put a bunch of Stoic philosophers together. Put a bunch of health nuts. Put a bunch of fighters together. They'd probably fight. Put a bunch of entrepreneurs together. They'd probably compete and argue and whatever. Put a bunch of players together, and they'll bicker, and women will get between them or whatever. But it'll be a powerhouse base, better than any fraternity out there. Now put all of those together. It's unreal. People don't even have a reality. What is a warrior philosopher? What is a player that's a health nut? What is an entrepreneur that knows how to get ladies? That's lethal is what that is. Now put a base of those guys together, and that's what IMC has, 7 of those, plus a bunch of guys that are out there as lone wolves or whatever. And many of you that are watching this right now, freeloaders on TikTok and YouTubes and whatever, one day, one of you, or 2 of you, 3 of you, 5 of you, I don't know, will be among the ranks of IMC Nation, maybe doing streams of your own. I was just a guy at University of Florida 9 years ago that came across AZD content and was just blown away. And it started changing my life as I listened to the lectures. There were not TikToks. There was barely Facebook videos. There was YouTube long form videos, like 10 to 20 minute videos that I was like, yeah, this is great. And I would share it. Nobody else would seem to like it in my circles, but I liked it, and it improved my life a lot. And I started doing trainings, and I kept getting closer and closer. And eventually I was asked, hey, why don't you recruit people for the trainings? I was like, why don't I? So I did. A year or so later, why don't we move in a base and create a headquarters of operation? Why don't we? So we did. And that was 3.5 years ago. Then the operation kept growing and growing. Now we have a resident who moved to Phoenix from Hawaii just to live with IMC Base. And then now he's in San Jose doing residency training, living here. And of course, he sleeps on the floor just like we all do because we don't even have beds. So that's because we're stoic warrior monks, philosophers that are also players. I mean, we get women, we have multiple relationships, and they don't seem to mind. And certainty is a big part of that. Certainty is very important. And, you know, but authentic certainty, because you could be all aggressive and firm and work on your voice and have delivery, but your voice is still going to waver. You're going to hesitate, stutter, fumble your words or whatever because you lack certainty. And at some, you might be certain about something, like you're certain about that homework assignment that you're turning in, or you're certain about if you did your chores or not, or you're certain about, I don't know, you're certain about some things, if you're wearing underwear or not. But you're not certain when you talk to a woman as a guy, you're not certain. You don't have certainty about the direction you're going in, what she should be doing, how she should be around you, what you're going to do today. You just don't have certainty. And if you tried to be certain because you're hearing this or some other coach somewhere, I'm not even a coach, I'm a student, I run IMC Nation. I guess I'm a captain, you know, so I run IMC Nation, but I am also a student, you know, but I'm not coaching you. But you may have heard from some coach somewhere, some idea that you should be certain. Like here, I'm saying be certain. But it's going to come across fake because you don't have the wisdom. You don't have the far-sightedness, foresight to guide with certainty, to know that there are wrong actions, there are right actions. Some are going to be better survival. Some are going to be lower survival. Like some guys would say, I don't want to live with a bunch of guys when I'm 30, 35, 40, 45 years old. That's pathetic. Bro, what's your dating life like again? Go ahead. Before you give me your advice or your opinion, go ahead and just let's divulge. What's your dating life like? Are you really getting women? Are you sleeping with anybody right now? Well, you don't have to have a high body count to be. No, you're right. So do you have any? Do any women claim to be loyal to you? Do they like you even? Do you have any women around you as friends? What do they look like? Are they valuable women, like high value women? Because no two people are the same, and definitely some women are more desirable than other women. Are you hanging around trash, just like half of her head buzzed, overweight, belly hanging out, nose piercing? And it's like, not that nose piercings are ugly, but it's like, you know, the heifer, the pig I'm talking about that looks like she has that ring that you pull her around by your nose because you got to steer her like a farm animal. That's different than some sexy gypsy fucking nose ring. Right? So that's the guy's opinion that I don't want to live with other guys. Dude, you couldn't even live with other guys. No guys would want to live with you except hideous guys that are the male equivalent, quote, male equivalent of that heifer. Low value guys. And then you wouldn't be able to live together and you still wouldn't get women, even if you could. So that's coming from like somebody in the bleachers looking at the basketball player that like had difficulty getting around the defender or, you know, did a difficult shot or whatever. Bro, why are you making so he's like panting when he gets off the court. Bro, why are you panting? You should be in better shape. Bro, you're fat ass in the bleachers. You couldn't make the team if you tried. Train for 10 years, you wouldn't make the team. I'm here to tell you if you trained for 10 years, you could if you absolutely dedicated yourself like I did. Because I was a total square, dork, nerd, dry-dicked beta motherfucker 9 years ago. Not that I hadn't had sex. I mean, I was 28, 29 years old. I had sex. Some guys don't at that age. Whatever, dude. I feel for you. When are you going to fix it? You know? But it's not like I was just raking in the pussy. I wasn't like skilled like that, good like that. And am I raking in the pussy now? I don't have a game agenda like that. I have 3 relationships that are more solid than any of y'all's 1 relationships if you have one. And I'm free to live as a bachelor. I don't live with the girls. I live with my guy friends. My guys are players. And we live free. Like I started this talk, we don't live the same lifestyle as you or the guys you know. The schedule is very disciplined, but we make it ourselves. The money comes in if we put the effort out. Our coordination as we move throughout town, if we're going out together, is like the Navy SEALs. If the Navy SEALs had a social strategy, it would be like that. The way we move when like at some point, my housemate's going to walk his girlfriend by. I'm going to dim my voice or stop talking when that happens. So if you hear that happen, that's what's happening. That's a code of conduct among brothers because I don't need my voice going into her ear. I don't need them listening to what I'm saying. I'm showing respect for him, blah, blah, blah. So many ways that we'll feel better around each other if we behave that way. And you, even if you know that, you're not going to be able to convince another guy to do that. And if you do it, you're going to get taken advantage of because they're not going to do it around you. You'd be doing it around them. It'd be one-sided. So how could you get 2 or more guys to be like this? Well, join IMC Nation. Good luck doing it on your own. Good luck. Maybe somebody in the world will reinvent the wheel. That's fine. Inventions happen multiple places at the same time. But you'd be reinventing the wheel. You don't have to go through all those trials and tribulations of figuring out how to live as a base. This is Enlightened Masculinity. Enlightened Masculinity podcast and Enlightened Masculinity as a title for the episode. Because it's much higher survival to base up, to be around your homies. Like I'm seeing guys on stream right now, guys in Wisconsin. There's another guy in Wisconsin. I think there's 2 guys in Wisconsin. But you could move also. There's openings happening all around the western side of the United States where most of the bases are happening. There's a guy, I think you're in Netherlands. Or definitely somewhere in Europe. I don't know. I always think of Europe, the countries are like states. So you can just move around. Europe's like the size of the United States. Just move. It's worth it to base up. Now, the thing is about most of the Europeans, almost all the Europeans have not met AZD in person, haven't been here. They don't have the training. So it's not going to be as good as here. But it will be your own. It's the same thing with all of Europe. Europe is just a different culture. It's different. So either come to America or move around some of your brothers. Just figure out which ones are the most dedicated. Martin in Denmark, or maybe Fabian in Germany, or Tor in Netherlands. And there's a handful of other guys. David Wale, he's older, but man, that's an older guy that will be responsible and temper your youthful fucking volatility a little bit. And that's the biggest challenge that other bases have, really, is because base 1, we have AZD. So we're all going to fall in line because at the end of the day, he's the base leader. And, we can always branch off into our own thing. But it's easy for the base to organize because there's a clear leader that we all are like, okay, in this organization, what's your leadership? And then he'll delegate, just like I do to my staff members or to my women. I delegate. I lead. If I let them lead, then I am leading them to lead, and then they lead. And that's the way it is under my umbrella of my organization. And so just like any general or lieutenant or captain or any rank, admiral, you're underneath somebody and you answer to them. Even the president in the top secret organizations answers to somebody. He's not the highest top secret classification because he's in and out of office 4 or 8 years. Some of the top secret officers are in office for their lifetime. They get top secret, top majestic secret clearance. The president gets Q clearance. So in any organ, even the top dog, when you move into another dog's territory, then can you obey or not? Because you'll get chewed out if you can't. Learning how to follow. And that's something that guys, they're not going to be able to manage when they live in a base with each other because they don't have philosophy. And if they do, then that's what I'm talking to the IMC guys. The IMC guys should do that. It'll change your level of survival, your success, your business, because all of that's going to depend on your ability to communicate, how you negotiate differences with brothers, how you negotiate ambitions and decisions that have to do with the base or what you're doing that weekend, because cohesiveness and social experience with each other is very important. So you got to coordinate some social endeavors and things like that. Go out and conquer your city. Over time, do it. Strategize and do it. Execute. So how do you coordinate? That takes communication. And that is human superpower, right? Fair. I'm a reasonable guy. You're a reasonable guy. Is it fair that you're not going to take over as much as you could if you had 2, 3, 4, 5 brothers coordinated with you? You would do a lot better. But that coordination takes skill of communication. It's not harder. Not at all. Just like solving a Rubik's Cube, it takes, let's say, 100 turns, 100 movements to solve a Rubik's Cube. You could do 10 million wrong moves or 100 right moves. 100 wrong moves is the same effort as the 100 right moves. It's just the right moves get it done. 100 words are not more difficult to say than these 100 words. Just one gets the wrong communication across. The other one is the right communication. With the same amount of effort, same words. That's the skill of communicating, just like the skill of solving a Rubik's Cube. This is what IMC is best at. Because the communication skills are the quantum level underneath sales skills, pickup artist skills, seduction skills, influence, NLP, hypnotherapy. All of those are higher level. Some of those principles bleed into communication, but communication is the umbrella under all of that. And we specialize in that. And right next door, the invisible sidekick of communication is what, Josiah? The invisible complement or yeah, we could say the invisible complement or counterpart to communication is imagination. It's invisible, but that's essential for communicating. So at the quantum level, underneath all those modalities of quote communication skills, nonviolent communication, whatever, psychotherapy, all of that, underneath that is just general communication. Right beside general communication is the invisible imagination, where communication comes from, where communication can influence. There's this relationship between, it's like yin and yang. So this is what IMC specializes in more than anything, communication and imagination. With that, you're going to have these adjunct, which means like kind of a, again, like a sidekick or like a kind of parallel, something attached to it, but just like on the side touching, almost like a tangent. Like this tangent subject of mentality, mindset, you know, in that's going to be so many things like physicality, that's going to influence your mindset. Nutrition influences your mindset. Daily discipline influences your mindset. So your mindset is going to be imagination, and we'll know your mindset through how you communicate. Now, that is going to get you the sales, the relationships with your parents, with women, with your kids, with everything. Relationships will come from communication. Sales will come from communication. If you're any kind of entrepreneur or work for yourself at all, even if you work for other people, you need communication to cooperate with people. But communication is going to be underneath all of it. And living in a base is probably the best. I think it's the best on planet Earth right now. Number one, the best way to, if she calls again, I'll have to answer it. So we'll see. If she calls again. So living in a base, because of negotiating, coordinating efforts, and you know, sustaining it and boundaries. Everybody's being a player. Everybody's a fighter. So everybody's got alpha energy expanding. Everybody's bringing girls through. So you got to have boundaries, and to set up those boundaries is going to take communication. And alpha guys don't want to just obey what another guy says. So how do you talk with other guys like that? You start working out how to communicate, how to solve the Rubik's Cube. That bleeds into how to have relationships, how to, negotiate the social hierarchy of your city or town, of any venue you get into. It's communication. Learning how to live with other guys in this way, players who are warriors, who are stoics, who, you know, on and on. All right, so they're coming out. So we do that. 1 second.
Thank you. Get it all out, Bruce.
Okay, so I resumed the recording, and I told that earlier that I would dim my voice or stop my voice as he walked his girlfriend by, so that's what that was. And I just resumed the recording, so the pause was much shorter for the recording than it was on the streaming or whatever. Guys may have even left the stream because they didn't know that was happening. But that's what happens, because that's what I do, because it's more comfortable for me, and I'm fine with that. Okay? So we're going to wrap it. I think that that's really, you know, the gist of it. Surviving better is what the woman is attracted to. Survival is not a yes or no. It's not a light switch. It's not an on or off. It's levels of survival. It's a gradient from 0 to infinity, 0 being dead. And, you know, so the drug addict's level of survival is very close to 0. The recovering drug addict is just a little bit better. You know, the guy that doesn't know how to negotiate any social environments has low survival. He may have some money or whatever, but that's just a proxy for survival. He's a slave, so he has some money. Slaves can save up money too. Being able to maneuver is that survival value. Skill of communication in every area that you find yourself. Because if the jaguar finds himself in the ocean, he doesn't need, he's going to die. Like, he doesn't have the skills of communication and survival there. So if the, you know, the city person finds himself on a farm, he may not have survival skills. If the bushman finds himself in the city, he may not have survival skills. But as men, if you stay in your arena where you're good, where you know how to survive, where you know how to communicate, then you'll do well. And if you expand and continue to expand your ability to communicate into so many venues, so many situations, that's wisdom as an older man. That's why women are attracted to older men. They have more experience. It's not the same thing. We're attracted to the youthfulness in the woman, that she has less experience. All right. All right, let's see if there's any comments here. Josiah, do you have anything to say on any of that? He does, so he's coming over this way. All right. From IMC Cygnus, from Base Phoenix.
Sir, base 5.
All right, so this is if you thought this was just me talking in a mic or it was nothing not a legit thing, then here's Josiah, who's a visiting resident from Base Phoenix, IMC Base Phoenix,
Sir,
one of 4 guys that lives there.
moving from Hawaii to Phoenix and now soon to be Las Vegas. So
Yeah, well, that's dope. You're gonna be moving to Base 7, I think, right?
yeah.
Yeah, you announced that to your base.
Yeah.
So this is, I think, the first time it's publicly being announced.
And you know what? It's things tend to move so fast, especially being over here at base 1. You know, I'm over here doing my residency, and to finally get that reference from all the guardians and especially AZD himself.
Guardians are the officers, the other guys that live here at Base 1.
Like when you get that reference point, you start to measure out like what you've been doing and like the kind of improvements that you yourself can make into making your schedule sharper. Like Yogi and Chris said, we make our own schedule, but we stick to it. You know, we make it sharp. And
Because you suffer if you don't. There's another guy vying for your position. Other guys want to live in bases, so you got to produce stats. And if you fall short, man, you only got so long.
Yeah, and like living at a base isn't just like a what'd you call it, like a fraternity where you just get together with a bunch of guys.
Yeah.
There's always a bigger purpose that needs to be created, like energy that needs to be generated. And like if no one's doing that, if everyone's trying to do their own thing, then like nothing's gonna be produced. Like where are you guys gonna go from there? You know, there's no grand design, there's no end goal in mind. So it'd be pointless to even do that.
Dealing with the girls.
But
That is the solution.
yeah, with things moving so fast and so quick, like one of the things I've learned is how firm that you need to be with your decision. Like there's this thing called decision fatigue, and that's when your thought is stuck on a decision that you're trying to make. And if you get stuck in that, then like you're gonna be going back and forth like internally, and then like you may want to do this, but then you're gonna want to do that, and it's just gonna be a waste of energy. And survival is not wasting energy. Survival is constantly generating energy, constantly taking a break, resting, and then just repeating it over and over.
There's a lot of guys on TikToks and whatever and Instagram and whatever, and they'll say, you know, I'm just focused on my business right now. I'm not focused on money. What would you say about that? They're not in IMC yet. What would you say to that? I'm just curious.
When I hear that, I think of like a lone wolf. My mindset was over there at one point in my life. And I came to my own realization, like, yeah, I want to save my own money. I want to do my own thing, build my own business.
Yep.
But then you're going to hit a plateau sooner or later. And then you're going to start to realize, and maybe it's something that you'll accept or maybe not. You're going to start to realize, like, I can only get so far to an extent unless I somehow get together with, it's called a mastermind, when you get together with other like-minded people to achieve not just your purpose, not just their purpose, but a higher purpose. And like, if you want to play this lone wolf archetype, then you're only gonna get so far in life. Like yeah, that's all I really got to say about that. Like that kind of syntax or talk to yourself like that, it's just a lone wolf mentality. That's all it really is.
And what helped you overcome that lone wolf mentality?
IMC.
Well, how did IMC do it? Because they're not in IMC yet. So did you overcome it to join IMC, or did you join IMC while still having that mentality, then changed it? Okay, so then maybe those guys don't have, because you had a lone wolf mentality, but you still joined IMC.
Yeah.
So maybe that was before we had the base movement, really. So it wasn't like that was, you didn't think you had to give up your lone wolf tendencies to study IMC.
Yeah.
Maybe we're portraying it that way. So you don't have to give up your lone wolf tendencies, guys. You could be a lone wolf out there. I'm just saying it's higher survival if you lived with like 4 other guys that were lone wolves like you, but you agreed to live together. You'd be stronger as a group, right? We have the philosophy that makes that work.
And mind you, I was still living inside Hawaii at this time with this whole lone wolf mentality. And like, one of the reasons why I left is because I realized there was nothing left for me there. So at the same time, I'm still in IMC. I'm still studying the lectures, attending the beast camps and whatnot. And then as time moves on, I start to see from a distance, mind you, I start to see how fast IMC is moving with like the decisions they're making, the new things they're creating. And like I stopped and asked myself, how are they doing this on such a efficient and effective level? It's because they're
distractions.
yeah, with no distractions, because they're masterminding. It's not just one person doing it, it's a lot of people. A lot of people doing it. A lot of this person knows about real estate, this person knows about content creation, this person knows about videography, and it's being just built into this big, the best analogy I can think of is like a storm. It's a giant storm that's gonna just moves and sweeps through everything. Like it cannot be denied.
Yeah, so I mean, get in on the ground floor while it's still, leveling up, or floor number 1, 2, 3, wherever we're at, where it's the skyscraper going to 1,000 stories up into the sky, building from underneath us, and you have the opportunity to jump in, and you'd be surprised. In a month, you'd be considered a brother. Within a year, you'd be you could be considered in a base, and within a few years, you wouldn't even recognize yourself. I mean, I don't recognize myself. I'm still that same guy that I was, but I'm not. I've changed, and for the better. And I see the evolution laid out ahead of me, and it's like a whole new life, the whole new world. All right, guys, we got base meeting happening right now in the background, so that sounds real exciting. Thank you, Josiah.
You're welcome.
So he's been in the last couple episodes, so you can hear the difference from living at base 1. If you guys are following the show on Apple, Spotify, Podbean, Enlightened Masculinity, leave a review, sign up. You got the links there. All the people that I'm streaming to YouTube, Facebook, whatever, the links are right there. Get involved. And guys on TikTok, girls, whatever, DM the account, get involved, link in the bio, that kind of stuff. I'm a reasonable guy. You're a reasonable guy. Like I've laid it out pretty honestly with a lot of certainty, and I'm just not going to lie to you. Like, I don't want you being left behind. You're obviously closer than all the other people that aren't even on these accounts or whatever. So just, one step in front of the other and get closer. And you decide if it's real, if it's worth it. I think it is. And Josiah does, and hundreds of other guys do. And that's it for now. Jake.